My grandmother was the only grand princess of the current dynasty, ruthless and a menace to the court. My mother was the formidable leader of Blackwind Mountain, renowned in her day. She wielded a great saber with fierce power, killing without a blink. Who would have thought that even a bad bamboo could produce a good shoot one day? These mother and daughter-in-law actually raised an honest person like me. Because I was too honest, even the royal family dared not marry me. They feared that the grand princess's only darling would be lost in the treacherous high walls and long alleys. If the royal family dared not marry her, who else would dare to touch her? I became an old maid in Chang'an, unable to marry. The day the Earl's manor sent people to propose, my grandmother almost went to the imperial ancestral temple to kneel and thank our ancestors. Is there anyone more honest in this world than my obedient grandchild? Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful stories every day. Now, the story begins. On the eve of my wedding, lightning flashed and thunder roared outside the window. My mother took my hand and patted it gently. The Sun family are decent people. Though Sun Xiang has several concubines, he is proper. I heard those women had been taking birth control concoctions before the main wife entered the household. Your mother-in-law is not in good health, although the concubine manages the household. Once you marry in, the domestic affairs will be handed over to you. With your grandmother around, the Sun family would never dare to bully you. I nodded. Your daughter is not afraid. I believe that treating everyone with sincerity can never be wrong. On my wedding day, my grandmother cried until she fainted in my mother's arms. My precious Jiao Jiao, she's going to suffer in another family's home. My mother comforted her. Please take care of yourself, with you around. Who would dare make her suffer? My grandmother looked at the broadsword in my mother's hand and finally held back her tears. My mother and mother-in-law saw me off as I left for my wedding. 30 li of dowry, parading through the city for half a day. Even my coffin for after I die was prepared. It was clear I was extremely doted upon at home. On my wedding night, I waited with a heart full of joy for my husband to lift my red veil. The day Sun Xiang came to propose, I saw him from afar. Through a screen, he held a xiangfei bamboo fan, gently swaying it, his moon-white silk robe embroidered with ink-colored orchids. His dark hair was half-pinned with a jade hairpin, a few stray strands falling across his forehead, making his peach blossom eyes appear even more captivating and amorous. He truly was a talented and romantic man. I was quite taken with him, even though my grandmother said he already had a concubine before marriage and wanted to refuse the match. I still pleaded with her, begging her to agree to marry me off to the Sun family. I yearned for a married life with him, one of mutual respect and shared joys. Like arranging flowers and playing with jade, the burning red candle suddenly crackled, its wick flaring. My husband didn't arrive. Instead, several of his concubines did. Isn't this Princess Jinrong? Why isn't the groom here to lift the veil? A clear laugh, like an oriole emerging from a valley, struck my ears. How about I do the honors for the groom? Amidst gasps, the red veil fell to the ground. I raised my eyes, my not-so-beautiful brows sweeping over the three people before me. Who are you? I heard Lu Yun scold them. How dare you? Is the princess's noble personage one that you can offend? Lu Yun is my personal maid. She has served me since childhood. The woman who had originally mocked me let out two soft laughs, her gaze filled with disdain as she looked at me. We are all the young master's concubines. The young master is so handsome. Your princess's appearance might well offend his eyes. If you're so capable, tell your princess to come hit me. As she spoke, she suddenly raised her hand, and with a sharp crack, slap, slammed heavily into Elvian's cheek. The slap was quite forceful, and a clear 5-finger mark instantly appeared on Elvian's fair face. She was struck so hard that her face turned to the side, and her body staggered. A woman in yellow, standing beside this concubine, tugged at her sleeve, looking very worried. Raonyang, have we gone too far? What if we anger her, and she sells us off in a fit of pique? What then? The woman called Raonyang pointed at me, her face full of disdain. Don't worry, I paid to inquire before the young master's wedding. Oh, she's known throughout Chang'an as an honest person. If you ask me, she's a princess in name only, but actually a complete airhead. Look, I hit her personal maid. And she didn't even dare to utter a peep. If she dared to sell me off, I'd respect her as a real man. I lowered my gaze and squeezed the jade pendant at my waist. You're right, come closer and tell me again. Well, I'm an honest person, and honest people love to fulfill others' requests. Raonyang swayed her slender waist, taking 3 steps for every shake, until she stood before me. This young lady's time is very precious. To repeat it for you again is to give you immense face. So you'd better listen carefully. Ah, her words still echoed in the air when a sharp, stinging pain suddenly erupted on her cheek. Wave after wave, without hesitation, I fulfilled her wish to be slapped, raising my hand and striking her hard several times. Each strike was delivered with full force, followed by a rapid succession of thwack, thwack, thwack sounds. You bitch, how dare you hit me? Her eyes widened, her face etched with disbelief. Luyun, fearing she might strike me, quickly shielded me with her body. I offered my hand to Luyun. My hand hurts. Luyun gently massaged my palm, her eyes filled with concern. Why did the princess have to do it herself? If there's anything you wish to do, naturally, your servants will take care of it. I nodded, then remembered something, rose, and pulled a stack of indentured servant contracts from my cosmetic box. After searching for a while, I pulled out one and handed it to Luyun. Luyun understood and called for Nanny Li from outside. These next few days are the princess's auspicious days. Once they're over, then send her away. Raonyang was triumphant. Don't get too pleased with yourself. The young master won't be coming tonight. He's at the other estate, accompanying Miss Yunxiu. She had no idea what it meant that I had given the deed of sale to Nanny Li. Nanny Li folded the deed of sale and tucked it into her bosom. With a stern, aged face, she ordered the old women outside. What are you waiting for? Get in here and send these shameless little hussies away. I merely went to fetch some food for the princess, and you let these wretched hussies disturb her. Raonyang has brought me here to flaunt her power enough. Shoving away the old women who surged in, keep your hands to yourselves. We are all the master's women, precious as gold. If you scratch even a bit of our skin, the master will have your dog's life. I covered my mouth and chuckled softly. I asked her, where is the other residence? Raonyang curled her fair, delicate orchid-like finger, her red nail polish striking. What for? So eager to see young master? Stop flattering yourself. Young master said if it weren't for you throwing yourself at him, he wouldn't have married an ugly woman like you. I am an honest person, but those who serve me are not. Nanny Li immediately slapped her again. You slut, when your master asks a question, just answer. If you babble again, I'll drag you out and pull out your tongue. Raonyang jumped up and down, pointing at Nanny Li and cursing, old hag. The moment she opened her mouth, Granny Li's dagger sliced off her topknot, around Raonyang. The 2 or 3 concubines who had originally flocked to her had long been scared away by Granny Li, finding excuses to slip away. Only Raonyang remained, trembling but feigning composure. I kindly told her, Granny Li was my mother's dowry maid. You know my mother, right? The leader of Black Wind, Granny Li. Well, she came out of a bandit's den. I'm honest, I don't lie. Raonyang's face turned pale, and she licked her lips. I handed her a glass of water. She shrieked and slapped it away. I am the one the young master cherishes most. If you dare touch me, he will never forgive you. The glazed lamp shattered on the floor, water splashing onto the pearls on my shoes. I sighed softly. If she's the apple of his eye, why is he with someone else at the villa? I just asked casually, and Raonyang ran off, covering her face. Honestly, she can't even handle the truth. I had Nanny Li send someone to find out where the villa was and instructed her to send some warming deer antler wine over. With a beautiful woman by my side, how could fine wine be absent? I truly am thoughtful. Having sent everyone away, I had the large bed all to myself and slept soundly. The next day, when it was time to pay respects, Sun Xiang didn't even step into my room. Green Cloud stood up for me. The consort is truly out of line. My hand, holding the eyebrow pencil, trembled, and the line went crooked. He's still not back. Green Cloud picked a phoenix hairpin and fastened it in my hair. Someone from the other courtyard said he and that Yunxiu girl were at it all night. They haven't even left the room yet. I redrew my eyebrows. No need to wait then. Let's go pay our respects to mother-in-law. Send someone on horseback with some ginseng soup for my husband. If anyone asks, say that young master worked hard last night, and though he's young and vigorous, he should still exercise some restraint when doting on his concubine. This honest person. Just love to think of others like this. I rose, with a throng of old women and maids following behind me, a large, dark mass, heading to mother-in-law's courtyard. The moment she stepped into the main courtyard, Luyun was almost in tears from anger. Granny Li had her hand on her hip. I thought she looked like she was about to draw a sword and cut someone down. The Sun family, they've gone too far. I looked, bewildered, at the 4 or 5 red and green undergarments hanging outside my mother-in-law's door. Nanny, what does this mean? Nanny Li gritted her teeth, each word squeezed out as if through a narrow gap. This is a show of force for you, princess. The concubines who had mocked me so freely in my bridal chamber last night stood by the door. pointing at those few pairs of underpants and laughing uproariously. The princess has just left her maiden home and is inexperienced. It's normal not to understand. These are the ones we and the old madam have worn until they're smelly. If a new bride crawls under them, she'll be free from illness and misfortune, and live a life of peace and prosperity. My eyes lit up. There's such a good thing. Then I definitely have to let them share in it. That's how considerate an honest person is. Granny Lee, what are you waiting for? Such good fortune, naturally, should go to my mother-in-law first. My mother-in-law and father-in-law were still waiting for me to serve tea when Granny Lee and her old sisters dragged them out. Even those concubines were forced by my maids to crawl under those underpants. My mother-in-law, needless to say, had already fainted, after I personally stuffed the twisted underpants into her mouth. I was still wondering, is mother-in-law that happy? So happy she fainted. My father-in-law's face was ashen, and he roared, a disgrace to scholars, a disgrace to scholars. Shen Jiao Jiao, I'm going to ask your parents how they raised you, if you have any manners at all. I just don't understand. Didn't you say this brings good fortune? Why aren't any of you happy? This good fortune, I'm giving it to you. Don't you want it? Her father-in-law was so enraged he nearly fell backward, and the servants scrambled to carry him away. Granny Lee chased after them, spewing the most vile curses. Black-hearted wretch, you'll be struck by lightning sooner or later. Afterward, she meticulously dissected the incident and taught me, even if those seductive, disaster-bringing vixens had all the audacity in the world, they wouldn't dare to treat the princess like this. It must have been that old hag's idea. Princess, you are honest, but you must understand this. Don't let these wicked-hearted people bully you. I snuggled into Nanny's arms, with Nanny protecting me. Jiao Jiao isn't afraid. Sun Xiang returned after lunch. Did you make mother and father sick? I heard the tone was very fierce. I looked up and caught sight of his crooked collar, with a striking red mark on his neck. I froze for 2 breaths. He raised his hand and pushed me. I'm talking to you. I retorted, how can good fortune be called qi, anger? It's just that mother-in-law and father-in-law are too happy. After all, they've received a lot of good fortune. Sun Xiang sat opposite me, rubbing his temples. You made my parents crawl back and forth under those stinking underpants, and even stuffed those things into my mother's arms. You call that a blessing? I saw the veins bulging on his forehead and was utterly bewildered, but Ruru and the others said so. They told me to crawl through and pay my respects to my in-laws, and that I would have peace and good fortune afterward, before I got married. Both my grandmother and mother taught me to honor my father-in-law and mother-in-law well. I selfishly thought that this immense blessing I must leave for the elders to enjoy. Why do all of you look like you want to eat me? It's truly inexplicable. After my barrage of retorts, he left with a single sentence, only women and small-minded men are difficult to deal with. Then he fled in a panic. It was the 3rd day of my marriage, and I was supposed to return to my parents' home. After court, Sun Xiang kicked open the carved wooden door of my room. He rushed up to me, demanding an explanation. Did you sell Raonyang? I still clutched the gift list in my hand. It was prepared for my visit back home. Originally, I asked my mother-in-law if the manor needed anything replenished, but she declined, saying I was still too young to handle such a great responsibility as managing the household. Without the tally, I couldn't access the public storeroom. Helpless, I handed him the list. Today is the day for my first visit home. Is the manor truly not giving me anything? What kind of situation is it if I go back home with my dowry? He snatched it and tore it to shreds. Unless you bring Raonyang back, don't expect me to go back with you. Besides, you're married into my family now. You're mine. What's yours is mine. There's no yours or mine. Using your dowry is the same thing. I asked him. Rao Niang left crying. Sun Xiang's gaze was dark, as if he wanted to devour me. You still have the nerve to ask. From the sound of it, she was crying tears of joy. I immediately had Lu Yun prepare the gifts. If you're not going, I'll go back by myself. It was Raonyang who wanted me to sell her. I'm an honest person, always happy to help. This person is simply insane, always hindering me from doing good deeds. Nanny Lee, with her immense strength, simply pushed him aside. I returned to my parents' home with a large retinue of maids. My grandmother, seeing me return all alone, embraced me with tears in her eyes, calling me my darling. My mother, after hearing Nanny Lee's report, rose and went to her room to fetch a knife. I'm going to go slaughter that wretched boy. Son, I quickly stopped her. Mother, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. My grandmother was about to cry again. My poor Jiao Jiao, when are you going back? Grandmother will accompany you. I want to see where this dog got the nerve to bully my precious Jiao Jiao. Green Cloud's face was a mess, snot and tears streaming down. Your Highness, Madam, the consort said that if the princess doesn't redeem that concubine, she shouldn't come back. He won't be coming to pick up the princess. Click, my ears are sharp. I heard a faint, crisp sound to my left. To my left was my father's seat. I turned my head to look at him. The old man crushed a thin-walled cup with intertwined branches. Dad, calm down. I put a large chicken leg on his plate. My dad put the chicken leg back in my bowl. I can't calm down at all. Dad's going out for a walk. Sun Xiang quickly went back on his word. He arrived that very afternoon. I waved goodbye to my grandmother and mother, riding in the same carriage as him. Was it you who leaked the matter between me and Miss Yunxiu? He questioned me again. I was utterly helpless. Didn't you have Raonyang tell me that you slept in the other courtyard that night? It's so cold. I was worried you two wouldn't be able to get a fire going, and I couldn't let the girl misunderstand that you were impotent. So what's wrong with sending you some deer blood wine to warm you up and liven things up? He stroked the jade thumb ring in his hand. Am I supposed to thank you? I spread my hands. What else? He wanted to strangle me, but he was a coward. Do you know that the censorate impeached me for favoring a concubine over my wife? Abandoning the princess on our wedding night, and leaving you to return alone on the third day of our marriage, His Majesty reprimanded me for disrespecting the royal family. I nodded. That's right. Besides, I corrected him. There are various types of concubines: good concubines, lowly concubines, maid concubines, and concubines who are also chambermaids. You can flip through all the books and never find Yunxiu's name. What kind of concubine is she? Sun Xiang thought I was an idiot. You mean you agree to Yunxiu coming into the family? I asked. Don't ask me. Isn't the most important thing whether she wants to enter your family's door? He and I argued for a long time. He said, if you don't agree, how can she get in? I said, if she doesn't agree, how can I agree? Finally, I understood. These two wanted me to make the first move. You should have said so earlier. I'm not a bad person. I just love helping others. Yunxiu entered the manor. Sun Xiang immediately forgot about his intention to redeem Raonyang and spent every night with Aunt Yun. Oh, men, my mother-in-law was very displeased by this. You are Young's legitimate wife. Can't you at least act like the lady of the house? I agreed. My mother-in-law's wish must be granted. That night, as he toiled on concubine Yun's bed, Granny Li, wielding a soft sword, dragged him into my room. I shrieked dramatically. Granny, do you have to be so dedicated? You've made him go soft. What will concubine Yun do? Granny Li retracted her soft sword. At least it's not as soft as this old servant's sword. Your Highness, please enjoy it as you wish. Sun Xiang lay sprawled on the bed, pointing at me, trembling and incoherent. You, ugly and faceless, shameless. I looked at myself in the mirror. Snowflake skin, cherry lips, brows dark without kohl, lips red without rouge, a pair of eyes, brimming with affection, held an autumn gleam. I asked Nanny Li, am I very ugly? Granny Li threw a sword, pinning it to Sun Xiang's crotch. He's blind. I followed the direction of the soft sword. Granny, he's so small. Sun Xiang fainted from anger. Oh, an honest man speaking the truth is simply not what people want to hear. The commotion that night was quite significant. When I went to pay my respects to my mother-in-law, she made me stand outside for a quarter of an hour. It wasn't until Sun Xiang arrived that the old woman holding the curtain at the door finally let me in. The weather has been getting colder lately, and it looks like it's going to snow. I don't have an appetite for anything. Xiang's wife, I'd like to eat some dumplings. I took back the walnuts I had shelled for her and popped them into my own mouth. Mother, if you want to eat something, just send someone to the kitchen to say so. Can't you even command the servants? My mother-in-law held herself with great hauteur. Those clumsy people, none of them are as meticulous as my daughter-in-law. When I first married into the Sun family, I used to make dumplings for my mother-in-law every day. The wrappers were rolled as thin as cicada wings, and the dumplings were pinched small. My mother-in-law would tell everyone she met how blessed she was. Me, my health isn't good. I wonder if I'll be able to enjoy my daughter-in-law's good fortune. No sooner had the words left her mouth than she was caught off guard by a low cough. She quickly pulled out a snow-white silk handkerchief to cover her mouth, waiting for the coughing to subside. When she removed the handkerchief, Sun Xiang immediately noticed the stark, crimson bloodstains splattered across the pristine white fabric. Seeing this, Sun Xiang's heart sank, and a wave of anxiety instantly washed over him. He was so consumed by worry that when he turned to speak to me, his tone unconsciously became a few shades harsher. What are you waiting for? Go. My mother had a difficult labor when I was born, and raising me all these years hasn't been easy for her. She just wants to eat some dumplings made by her daughter-in-law, and you're being so coy. You're truly unfilial. if mother gets sick because of this, I'll divorce you. Even though I was an honest man, faced with his terrible attitude, I couldn't help but feel a bit of temper rising. Ah, was the Earl's manner really that poor before? Then why are you still standing here? At my command, Granny Lee dragged him to my mother-in-law's small kitchen. You unfilial daughter-in-law. Mother said she wants to eat something made by your own hands. Unable to break free from Granny Lee, Sun Xiang glared at me in fury. My mother-in-law also chimed in to help him. He's a man. Men don't cook, it brings terrible bad luck. I didn't believe it. In my family, my grandfather used to cook, and he even married a princess. I never saw him have any bad luck. Her mother-in-law's face instantly darkened, turning an mottled shade of green and white. Seeing Nanny Lee about to drag her son away, she waved her hand, saying weakly, "Forget it, don't bother. I don't want to eat. How can I do that? I'm an honest person, since my mother-in-law made this request. My husband and I must certainly fulfill it." The old madam said the wrappers must be rolled very thin, and the dumplings must be pinched very delicately. If you make them this thick, it will be hard for her to digest. Do it again, under Nanny Sun's guidance. Sun Xiang toiled until dark before finally presenting a plate of exquisite, delicate lotus dumplings. My mother-in-law pointed at me, her eyes filled with disgust. How could you let your man do such menial work? I wiped the silver chopsticks clean, picked up a dumpling, dipped it in vinegar, and held it to her mouth. She slapped it away with one hand. You venomous woman, take it away, I won't eat it. The dumpling fell to the floor, but I was very patient. She handed her another. How can mother say that? This is my husband's filial piety. Her head tilted to one side. I said take it away. Are you deaf? Even if you force it on me, I won't eat it. Ah, I reluctantly put down my chopsticks. Mama. Attend to mother's meal. Mama Lee indeed served her an entire plate of dumplings. Force-fed. Seriously. Why do they always force an honest person like me to do things I don't like? It's been over 3 months since I married into this family, and my mother-in-law says I'm too straightforward and not suited to manage the household. She won't hand over the tally, but for household expenses, she'll have the steward come to me with the tally. Madam, the garden in the courtyard needs repairs. The old madam said to draw the silver from your funds. It was only 100 taels, so I gave it to her. I didn't really care. But for Aunt Yoon to be pregnant and want to eat blood swallows, and then to ask me to open my private vault for it, that's too much. Sun Xiang mentioned it to me when he came to have breakfast with me. Yunxiu has a poor appetite and said she wanted to eat bird's nest. I remember you had dozens of excellent blood swallows in your dowry. You won't use it anyway. So just let her have it. Nanny Lee had never seen such shamelessness, and immediately reached for her waist. I instructed Green Cloud, go open the storeroom and get the blood swallows. Green Cloud's eyes welled up with tears, frustrated by my perceived weakness. Sun Xiang's face was beaming with joy. He held my hand, making endless promises. I knew you were a good one. Don't worry, even if Yunxiu gives birth to a son later and is elevated to a co-wife, you will still be the mistress of this household. Still want to be a co-wife, dreaming in broad daylight. I pulled my hand back. Cook it and bring it to me. Blood swallow's nest is my favorite. Sun Xiang's face turned green with anger. You are utterly vulgar. Sharing a bed with you is a nightmare. He rose, brushed his sleeves, and left. I ate the bird's nest and blinked. Is telling the truth also wrong? Tonight, Lu Yun told me, the prince consort has gone over there again. I tossed and turned, thinking for 3 days. Life was truly meaningless. Elvian, light the lamp, grind the ink. I need to write to my mother and tell her that I want a divorce. The letter was sent out early that morning. Sun Xiang came to kick down my courtyard door that afternoon. The divorce papers were slapped across my face. Since you married me, you should stay by my side obediently. Don't you understand husband is the wife's guide? You want a divorce? Dream on. I picked up the crumpled letter and smoothed it out. First, I don't like others touching my things. Second, how long have I been married into your family? And how many times have you slept with me? You don't sleep with me, and I can't go sleep with others. I'm frustrated too. It was simply too much to bear. Yesterday, when concubine Yoon came to pay her respects, she was holding her waist and said that the young master truly didn't know how to restrain himself last night. It hurt her. I was very curious, since it made you all swollen, why are you still so happy? She said it hurt but felt good, and was a little itchy. The rites of Jugong, the joys of the boudoir, madam has not experienced. I fear she does not know their various flavors. This is quite bullying. Sun Xiang listened to my tearful complaint. You actually still thought about finding someone else. Have you no shame? Then, as if consumed by rage, he snarled, fine, I'll grant you your wish. No sooner had he spoken than he roughly pushed me onto the bed, looking as if he intended to force himself upon me regardless of my protests. Looking at a woman under the lamp, the more you look, the less appealing she becomes. He gnawed at me haphazardly twice, then got off me. Forget it. I can't even bring myself to bite after lights out. Damn it, he's so insulting. But I didn't expect him to call Aunt Yoon into my room. You just stand there and watch how I dote on Yoonsho. This is just too much. Taking advantage of honest people, I could tolerate it, but Nanny Lee couldn't. You all treat the princess as nothing. How utterly presumptuous. She moved too fast. I couldn't quite stop her. Granny Lee punched him, leaving a dark bruise under his eye. Princess, let's go. The gates of the Sun Manor opened that very night. And I packed my bags and left. It wouldn't be good to go home late at night and disturb my parents. I went to the 2-courtyard house in the alley west of the city. The one my grandmother had bought for me. Go, find me a man. No sooner had I settled in than the itch, previously stirred by Sun Shiyang, returned. Lu Yun asked, puzzled, Princess, what do you need a man for in the middle of the night? I said, to sleep. Lu Yun replied, I don't understand, but I respect it. Soon after she left, Granny Lee carried in a frail scholar. He threw him onto my bed like a salted fish. Princess, please enjoy. No, he's unconscious. How am I supposed to use him? I asked Nanny Lee, how do I use it? Granny Lee taught me, it's fine if you pass out. You can move yourself. That's too much trouble. I refused. A long time ago, I met my cousin, Princess Shanyin. And she often played like this with her male companions. My cousin looked utterly exhausted. Nanny, wake him up. He woke up. I slept. The young man's eyes were bloodshot at the corners, looking utterly humiliated. My legs were wrapped around his waist, huffing and puffing. Hey, are you not full? Put some effort into it. Half an hour later, I lay on his chest, too tired to even move a finger. For 3 whole days, I didn't leave my room. Granny Lee, worried about my health, knocked on my door several times. I didn't have time for her. The nanny heard the rather embarrassing sounds from inside the room and decided not to inquire. Having tasted the forbidden fruit, I became even more entangled with him. Question Sun Shiyang, understand Sun Shiyang, surpass Sun Shiyang. I want to find a day when I have the chance, and I'll call him and Aunt Yoon over to see how I dote on my husband. I lay softly on the couch, hooking my fingers into his waistband. Say your wife is beautiful, he wouldn't say. I climbed onto his waist and bit his earlobe. I admired the color that bloomed at the corner of his eyes before I was satisfied and let go. Anyway, in the end, he always traced my eyebrows and eyes with his lips, while telling me I was the most beautiful wife he had ever seen. I told you Sun Shiyang had something wrong with his eyes. For a beauty like me, a national treasure, he couldn't even bring himself to kiss me with the lights off. He's not honest. I want a divorce. I haven't figured out how to capture someone to admire my beloved young master. My family, however, found out first that I was hiding in the manor west of the city. My grandmother hugged me and cried as soon as she entered the door. Damn them. They forced my precious darling to leave the manor and live elsewhere. That motherfucker is truly inhuman. I haven't even tasted the delicate little dumplings my darling made. My grandmother said she had misjudged them. The Sun family was not honest at all. I comforted her. Grandmother, your grandson isn't tired. With Nanny here, how could I possibly suffer? Grandmother's tears, which had flowed like an open floodgate, instantly ceased. That's good. Nanny Lee has served her master well. Reward her. Nanny Lee received another reward. My mother was worried about something else. I heard you've taken in a young man. At her words, my face immediately flushed with shyness. She was concerned it would damage my reputation. My grandmother, however, was quite open-minded. That girl from Shanyin even keeps male companions. Jiao Jiao only has one. What's the big deal? My Jiao Jiao is a princess, a noble lady. What's wrong with having a few men? She even asked me, is that enough? Do you want grandmother to send you a few more? I replied, thanks for the invite. I'm already bent over in bed. My mother worried my father would break my legs if he found out. My grandmother said, a prince went missing in the palace. He's busy. He has no time to concern himself with matters of the inner chambers. My grandmother quietly told my mother and me, as long as the crown prince remained unappointed, King Cheng and King Xiangyang were locked in an endless struggle. But grandmother believed neither of them was fit to rule. The one she and my father favored, the one they secretly intended to elevate, the unnoticed, unloved 10th prince, he had disappeared. A few days later, my father was no longer busy. I don't know which big mouth told him. My father stormed into my courtyard. Call your young master over. I want to see what kind of man could deceive my daughter. My father didn't break my legs. He was worried I'd be deceived. I sobbed in his arms. The young master arrived and saw my father. My father knelt. "Greetings, Your Highness." Thunder exploded in the sky. It left my head reeling. What kind of highness? My father dragged me down to my knees to beg for mercy. "My daughter is ill-behaved and deserves to die. I beg Your Highness to forgive her." Zhao Zhao quickly kowtow and apologized to His Highness. I knew all the princes in the palace, from the emperor's sons down to the imperial princes, but who was this one, popping out of nowhere? He was stunned for a moment. I understand, he was the 10th prince. Little Zhao, how tragic, he'd grown so old without even a proper name. I knew there was a reason he wouldn't tell me his real name. No matter how hard I tried in bed, it was childhood trauma. After all, no need for formalities. "Your uncle has raised a fine daughter." A gaze, full of unknown meaning, fell upon me, chilling me to the bone and making me shiver. I overpowered the emperor's youngest son, tied him to the bed, and played with him for several days. "Is it too late to die now?" When my father left, he gave me a deep look. "Zhao Zhao, the weather is changing. Stay here, don't go out, and wait for me to pick you up," I cried, snot and tears streaming down my face, clutching my father's sleeve and refusing to let go. "Dad, I'm scared of the thunder." Little Zhao carried me back to my room. I hid from him. He approached me step by step, and I retreated to the edge of the bed. "Cousin, don't you want me anymore?" He leaned in, his intense scent enveloping me. My body trembled, and I plopped down onto the edge of the bed, my voice utterly broken. "Can't afford it. Pass." He became ruthless and punished me severely. What a terrifying man. Amidst the ebb and flow, regret bloomed in my heart. If only I hadn't provoked him. Sun Xiang looked a bit weaker than him. I should have just gone with the surname Sun. Zhao Xiaohai gripped my waist, his eyes dark and brooding. "Cousin, you're under me and still thinking of other men. Cousin, has he been here with you? Has he loved you like this?" 2 tears fell from the corner of my eye, he asked. Knowing the answer, when my father died, he made me promise to hide him and protect him. I really want to cry. "Dad, he's bullying an honest man." He leaned down and kissed away my tears. "Why are you crying?" Softly spoken, yet making quite a stir. I shivered, my voice high-pitched and shrill. "Don't move, don't touch that." This damn kid, not a truthful word out of his mouth. I've never seen a wimp play so well. He and I were having a blast at home. It wasn't until Sun Xiang arrived that I remembered I was a married woman. "Are you done playing? My patience has its limits. Please return to the manor as soon as possible." His tone was not good, and he held the tea brewed by Elvian with great disdain. I spat out a tea leaf and summoned my maid. "Do you have no manners? Go fetch me this year's new Luan Guapian." Serving old, stale tea to guests, it's simply outrageous. With a splash, I threw the tea from my hand all over his face. "Eat if you want, otherwise get out." His face was covered in tea, and a few tea leaves clung to his forehead. His originally handsome face was slightly contorted with anger. "Have you caused enough trouble? The mistress of the house ran away, and now our family is in debt. The shopkeepers and managers who usually deliver goods to our house have been blocking the door demanding payment these past few days. It's truly disgraceful, and Yunxiu is now carrying our eldest son. She can't go a day without Bird's Nest, so you'll have to pay for that, won't you?" Even an honest person like me was actually made to laugh by his shamelessness. "What does that have to do with me? What promises did you make to my family before we got married? You promised to settle down, never to violate propriety, and to let the concubine give birth first. You broke the agreement first." He was still quibbling. "I did want to sleep with you, but you really don't know how to please a man. You're too. Who is this man? You're secretly keeping a wild man behind my back," Sun Xiang shrieked. All his accusatory words were swallowed back down when he saw Little Zhao. Little Zhao was dressed in a white robe, its sash hanging loosely, untied. His hair, black as ink, was not gathered into a topknot but flowed freely down his back, exuding an air of wildness and nonchalance. He walked straight past Sun Xiang without a glance, his steps quickening as he approached me. Then, he firmly pinned me to the grand armchair. Afterward, he slowly leaned in, his lips gently covering mine, bestowing a long and tender kiss. Sun Xiang's eyes turned red with rage, and he let out a furious roar. "You dare to cheat on me?" Zhao Xiaohai turned around, and we switched places. He sat in the grand armchair, and I straddled his lap. "What are you to demand her pleasure? If you can't serve her, there are plenty who would line up to." Sun Xiang's face contorted. "Absurd, utterly absurd." I leaned lazily into Zhao Xiaohai's embrace, playing with the strands of hair that fell across his chest. "I am Princess Jinrong. Is it not normal for me to have a few men?" Sun Xiang, in a fit of pique, was momentarily speechless. you will return to the manor with me, settle the household accounts, and dutifully deliver Bird's Nest to Yunshio every day. I will overlook everything that happened today. You will remain the mistress of the Sun Manor, living in luxury. I hummed in response, my coal-tipped fingers tracing patterns on his bare skin. Sun Shiyang, am I some kind of cheap woman? Little Zhao slapped my hand away. Woman, don't play with fire. I'll play, and not just with fire. I want to play with him too. Come, you come and please me, Elvian. Show him out. Sun Shiyang was chased out by Nanny Li. When my father came to my door again, he looked quite embarrassed. My dear daughter, when you're playing, can you please rein it in a bit? Sun Shiyang has even complained to His Majesty. He eats my food, uses my things, finds me ugly, and now he's even slandering me to His Majesty. How could this man be so tasteless? I was wrong. I was too soft-hearted, too honest. Dad, didn't you originally want to chop him up? My dad nodded. Yeah. I asked, so, do you still want to chop it down now? My father hesitated for a moment. I didn't press him. After all, I'm honest and filial. Dad, do me a favor. Within 3 days, it was known throughout the streets and alleys of Chang'an that Sun Shiyang had spent his wedding night in the room of a courtesan. He even indulged his concubine in bullying the princess, making her crawl between his legs, and his mother dared to torment the princess. Each and every one of these incidents is enough for me to divorce Sun Shiyang. The day he received the divorce papers, he begged at the back door of my estate for an entire day. I didn't see him. Lu Yun, go deliver a message. Asking for a divorce back then was me being considerate. Since you're ungrateful, I won't be polite anymore. The royal family only knows of repudiation and widowhood. There is no such thing as a divorce. I was free, but little Zhao had vanished right under my nose. I quickly sent someone to inform my father. I was so preoccupied with sleeping with him that I forgot to protect him. I am guilty. My father didn't blame me. Instead, he told me to hide well, as it was chaotic outside. I've always been obedient, so I stayed quietly in the manor and didn't go out. Even Green Cloud, who usually loved to go out, quieted down and learned embroidery from Nanny Li. I believed my father. It really was chaotic outside. Little Zhao snuck into my room late one night. A cold gust of wind tore through the window, covered with green silk gauze. Dressed in black, he flew into the room, enveloped me in his arms, and showered my lips and brows with countless kisses. Miss me, cousin? I didn't miss him at all. He didn't believe it. Let me see. Did you miss me? Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and that night we made love passionately. He truly wanted to devour me whole. Zhao Zhao, may I marry you? Will you spend the rest of your life with me? He gripped my waist, demanding I tell him I loved him, clinging to him like an octopus. Surely, he must understand my feelings now. The coronation and wedding were held simultaneously. Only afterwards did I learn that King Cheng had rebelled. His Majesty was stabbed to death on the spot by him, and King Xiangyang was also executed. With 2 of the most competitive princes dead, my grandmother and father put their heads together and placed little Zhao on the throne. I was just saying. When I told my dad that little Zhao was missing, why didn't he even bat an eyelid? They were all keeping it from me. From Page, little Zhao wrapped his arms around me from behind. My good wife, when we're making love, can you please not get distracted? The way you look, it truly makes me want to ravage you. I turned to face him. Come on, who's afraid of whom? Since ancient times, no field has ever been overplowed. Zhao Xiaohai's extra story. The first time I saw Zhao Zhao, she was the Marquis's daughter, and I was a prince banished to the cold palace. My mother concubine was dead, and I was barely surviving in the cold palace. My body was ailing, and I couldn't even get a dose of medicine. She burst into the cold palace and dragged my feverish body to the imperial hospital. The moment I woke up, her eyes were red from crying, like a little rabbit's. Her soft, sweet voice asked me, "Where does it hurt? I'll kiss it better for you." Thanks to her, my back was covered in scrapes from the pebbles. The first time I saw her, I'd already thought of names for our children. When I grow up, I'll definitely bully her until she's red-eyed and begging for mercy. Years passed, and when I saw her again, she was outside the bed, and I was tied up by her. She haughtily declared she was going to sleep with me. Perfect, Shen Zhao Zhao, you brought this upon yourself. Every time I saw her softly sobbing, crying and saying no, the more I wanted to exert force. My dear Zhao Zhao, back then, you were the one who provoked me first.